attend her event. They're celebrating her 30 years in activism. And so she's been doing a phenomenal job with the coalition, also the co-convener of the Black Women's Roundtable. And so Melody's been one of the folks on the front lines all across this country, really galvanizing, organizing folks, young people, men, women as well. Again, one of our unsung heroes when we talk about voting in this country, when we talk about public policy. It's a lot of bigger names that get the attention, but again, Melody has been a phenomenal job. So I hate I could not be at her event tonight in Washington, D.C., celebrating her 30 years leading the National Coalition. But y'all give it up for Melody Campbell, the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation. Folks, we're here at the church here. Bishop Ron Wills joins us right now. Bishop, how you doing?
Good, and yourself, Roland? Thank you.
So let's talk about the first panel we talked about, again, the role that the church can play. And we also are dealing now with a completely different, if you will, position that we're in. Even before COVID, we have seen a drop in church attendance. The role that the church plays is not the same that it did 10, 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
And so what role do you see the church playing? We're seeing white conservative evangelicals now get the IRS to change the rules where they can now endorse candidates and talk politics from the pulpit, whereas before you could not. And so what role do you see the church, specifically black churches, playing in the political world today?
One of the things, that's a great question. One of the things that I'm discovering, there's been a shift with the young people, trying to reach them where they are. And so we have these conversations now that we need to get them more engaged in the church because of meeting them where they are. And while we see this trend of the Gen Zs and Xs and stuff that are coming, they're coming for different reasons. And so I believe what the church needs to do today is meet people where they are and help them understand why we teach what we teach and stand on that principle. Because the question is, they're not challenging us. They just want to know what's going on.
Well, they also are demanding the church be focused on different things. And again, if you break down numbers, and if you look at any political scientist will tell you, voters that are 65 and older who are African American politically self-identify as Democrat. Then when you go down further, 55 to 64, numbers still self-identify. Once you go below 55, that begins to drop off. Now, a person who is 18 to 35, 39, 45, they may not self-identify. They're likely going to vote Democrat. But then you have an increasing number of folk, really beginning with Gen X. I hate the fact that Gen X was the only demographic that voted majority for Trump. I don't know what we were thinking. Right. But what you're dealing with there, and this is a conversation that is very hard for people to understand. When you look at Gen X, that's that first generation coming after the Civil Rights Movement, you now are having African Americans who are coming out of college who are making more money than their parents did. Correct. So they're having issues or having conversations about things parents never talked about before. You didn't have many black parents talking about the top tax bracket. Few of us were near the top tax bracket. We start talking about capital gains, investments, things along those lines. So I think also we have to recognize how.
If you got hit, even as a passenger or in an Uber, you would need to try this.
Were you recently injured in a car accident? Look at this check for $160,000. If you're looking to get money you're owed for an injury, I want you to imagine you and your family getting that money, because I know a way that you can. Now, before you think I'm crazy, I want to show you how you can get that money you're owed in the next 30 days. Now, if you've thought about hiring an attorney before, but you didn't because you were unsure or you had reservations, it's not your fault. You were probably given no guidance and couldn't get a straight answer out of anyone about how much money you could actually make. I want you to capitalize on a limited opportunity that can have you cashing out a massive check in the next 30 days. This opportunity won't last long, and it's perfect for anyone who's been in a car accident in the last 2 years.
How education, the economics is also changing the politics and is demanding more of politicians and the Black church and others to be able to speak to folks as to where they are, to say, hey, why should I support this person or this party?
Right. And so, and with that being said, one of the things I think the church needs to do is that we, since we now, we don't talk about politics like we did before, that we should be talking more about
Or I'll say this here. I take politics out. The church has to be speaking to contemporary issues.
Right.
Politics plays a role in it. And so, fine, it can't be a D or R conversation, but it has to be an issue-driven conversation, right, because you are impacted by that particular issue.
Right, absolutely. One of the things that I know that I have done that has been open a lot of in the church, we have what we call forums. And in our forums, we talk about today's issues, what's really going on in today. And I have discovered that people have a voice. They want to know, let's talk about the real stuff that's really going on. And for too long, it's been taboo that we talk about. One of the things is like mental health. When we talk about mental health, we look at mental health as being quasi the stigma. But we all are suffering, but we don't want to talk about it. So we have to learn at the church to talk about real issues and be not so sensitive and get so defensive that we can't hear each other's perspective.
But mental health also has a political side, because that speaks to resources, whether it's school district, whether it's city, whether it's county, all of that. And so again, to me, that's where I think the connecting the dots has to take place. Earlier when Pam was talking about how we have to be having these civic classes, to me, there should be, it could be a rotating thing, but I would suggest that if you've got 10, 20 churches, and then they say, hey, we're going to rotate this thing week to week to week so people can come and actually learn. And I keep telling everybody, make this thing as basic as possible. Literally say City Hall 101, School District 101, State Government 101, because a lot of people really don't know. And the reason I come at that from this perspective, because my parents were co-founders of a civic club. Okay. And so they had 5 kids. And so here we were, 8, 9, 10, free labor, having to pass out pamphlets and put up signs. But the reality is, so I saw politics not from a 30,000 foot level, not from a political, I literally saw it from a neighborhood, how do we get this abandoned house torn down? How do we get these overgrown lots cut? How do we so that's how I grew up watching politics. Speaking before the city council when I was in the 10th grade, challenging city council members on the closing of cutting of pool hours when I was in the 8th grade. We had a council member, we had a church bazaar, I was born and raised Catholic, and he was like, I don't know. He's like, who kid? Like, cause I was jamming Eugene McGowan up. And again, because it was about public policy. And so I think that's where we have to be. We literally are going to have to teach folk civics, because we got a lot of folk who ain't got no clue about how any of this stuff works. Right.
Also, one of the things that I believe in stuff is collaboration. We don't want to talk about the real issues. As churches, we need to, and I know pastors, a lot of pastors are here, but we need.
Are you a pastor? Stand up.
If you're a pastor, stand up.
Don't be scared.
There's one back there. Amen.
All right, waving back there. All right, cool. Okay, go ahead.
But one of the things that we need to have more collaboration and quit thinking about competition, separation. We are the church. We're supposed to be one. And so I don't care who takes the lead. I just want to be on the team and help our community and help our people. Where now it's so divisive and with that. So if we're divisive, what do you think is going to happen to the people? If they don't see us come together, what's going to happen with them?
But the collaboration also, again, this is where I go back to what the data says. Like, for instance, I really hate, listen, I see alphas here, I see other folks here. I really do hate most people's get out the vote programs. I think most people programs are trash.
Okay.
Here's why I say that. Because they're trying to be macro and not micro. All right? So if you take this election, so is it Kimberly Pope Adams, right? So Petersburg. We were there at Virginia State on Thursday. So 2 years ago, she lost by 53 votes. Okay? Black folks didn't turn out in Petersburg. So if I'm looking at data, what I'm looking at is I'm saying, okay, if I'm in Fredericksburg, where are the top 10, 15 black voting precincts? So I want to know number of eligible voters. I want to know number of registered voters. I want to know who turned out in the last election. The data actually is public. You can pull it up and know exactly who turned out, who didn't. And so what happens is we have these voter registration drives at all these different places, and I always go, okay, well, how many people did you register? How many people literally came through? As opposed to saying, how about you take that, forget the game or forget the concert, and literally take that registration drive to that particular neighborhood, because you might actually have 400 people who are eligible but are not registered. So now, are you going door to door? Are you doing, and that's why when I was saying earlier, that black infrastructure we had, folk knew their precinct. Right. Yeah. They knew the numbers. They knew who didn't turn out. And if you take 10 precincts, and if you literally add 50 more voters per precinct, that's 500 votes. That changes elections. Now you take that, and then you go across the state, and all of a sudden you can shift statewide elections with that very basic micro model. That to me is how churches should be collaborating, by saying, if we need to add 50 to 100, you got 10 churches, that means that your job is to just go register 10 people. Right. And you 10, 10, 10. That's all I'm asking you to do. To me, that's the kind of collaboration that also has to happen.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I think that's the thing that we're missing. We don't have like what we, as pastors sometimes, and I'm guilty of that as well. As a pastor, I don't know it all. And you have to be able to go to get. And so I say this to pastors and stuff, if you don't know, go find somebody that can educate you and help you with the voter registration.
Right. And that's why you take the folks at Black Voters Matter who are out there. Again, that's one of the things that they do, bringing them in with the data. Also calling up Cornell Belcher, Terrence Woodbury, two of our top pollsters, both African-American. Terrence's work has been amazing because he does public opinion. Right. And so one of the things that he does focus groups all the time. And what's interesting, I was talking to him, and this was in 2020. So based upon his focus groups, he said when people would use the phrase voter suppression, he said to a voter 18 to 35, they heard voter suppression and automatically thought 1964. He said, but if you said to that voter, if you didn't say voter suppression, but you said they're closing down our voting locations, that resonated more present day. Right. So the other issue is bringing in experts who can give you the proper language to be using in 2025, as opposed to you using language that you think works and is really sounding 1965 to somebody in the audience.
Yes, absolutely. Amen. Also, one of the things with
and Terrence, you should send me a check. I'd have had more people hire Terrence to give his data. Every time he said, man, I got a lot of work for me. I'm like, so Terrence, you should be tithing, Terrence. Tithing to Roland Martin Unfiltered, Terrence Woodbury. Go ahead.
Now, with regards to that, Roland, when it comes to in voting is so critical today, because I've heard in the last when people say, well, why should I vote? You know, why does my vote matter and stuff? And it's educating them on why their vote matters. And I want to thank you for coming to Fredericksburg again. Because this is what we need. We need to have more of these within ourselves. The question is, while it's great to have you here and having the show, the broadcast live, what are we going to do after this? Yep. Because the election is coming around the corner. And so we heard from... Well,
you got the election in November, right. But then you're going to have elections next year. And there's going to be elections after that. And one of the things that I would suggest, not just to you, to everybody else, And I was talking to Gary Chambers in Louisiana. I was talking to, it was a couple of other young organizers, 2 sisters, brilliant sisters. But I was trying to explain, and they were like, Roland, but we just organized. I said, I get that. But I was trying to explain to them why they also have to utilize live streaming. I said, because if you stream that event, I said, do understand, so you take right now. So, more than 200 people in this room right now. But there are more than 4,000 watching.
Right, correct.
And then what's going to happen is we're going to take clips from what different people said today. We're going to post it on Instagram, Fanbase, Spoutable, Spill, TikTok, on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all the social media. We on 11 different apps. So that all of a sudden now.
Hello everyone, I'm the boss of Lots of Slots, and if you like playing mobile slot games, I sincerely invite you to try our game. I can confidently say that after trying it, you can delete all the games on your phone that require money. That's right, with Lots of Slots, you don't need to spend a single penny or watch a single ad. And it has super high payouts, so you can hit the jackpot of 10 trillion coins in as fast as 2 or 3 spins. And if you're lucky, you can hit 5 jackpots in 10 minutes. You can win more by playing our game for 2 hours than by playing any other slot games for 2 whole days. I mean, it's so hard not to fall in love with it. To thank everyone for their support, I've decided that players who download our game through the link below this video will receive...
It's going to be 40,000, 100,000. So one of the big mistakes that I believe that churches make, fraternities make, sororities make, in many groups, that we are so fixated of who showed up in the room without realizing that there's somebody who couldn't show up tonight, but they're watching and doing what they're doing while they're watching. So when you have those sessions, let's make sure that they're recorded and streamed for the person who couldn't physically be there.
To your point, I had to learn this as a pastor.
What, during COVID?
No.
Okay.
We came out of COVID, and I'm learning this now because I am accustomed and acclimated to people in the audience. Not only realizing this stuff, that when I start streaming, my numbers was going to go up.
Yes.
So as I start
your
streaming...
Your viewership numbers and your tithing numbers. You ain't want to say it. I said it. See, when he said my numbers went up, I knew what he was talking about. He didn't want to say it. I was like, I know what number you talking about.
But I was getting frustrated because nobody was sitting here and nobody was talking to me. I'm a black preacher. Talk to me.
Hey, man, you can get somebody to have some pre-recorded amens. This is not hard. All you got to do is have somebody hit the button like, preach, pastor. Say that. I hear you. That ain't hard.
But when they showed me the numbers of how many people are online and how many the numbers was outweighing triple time, and of course the giving was up as well, it changed my mindset. So we live now of a change that you don't have to be physically in the building.
Now apply that to civics teaching.
Right.
Same thing.
Same concept.
Stream it as well, restream it, share it, push it out. Then what you also should be doing, you should also be collecting the data, I go back to data, of every member. Because see, here's part of the deal. If somebody over here is going, okay, bro, I hear you got 5 million, but man, I just got 238. But that 238, with that 500, and that 200, and that 100, and that 50, all of a sudden, so if you do a survey, which is also biblical, if you do a survey of the membership, you should know, okay, what is the social media footprint of my whole congregation? So what are the total followers, forget the church, the total followers of the membership on each platform? And then what you do is, you say to the membership, all right, we've already done the work for you. Here's the video. Here's the copy. Here's the caption. All you got to do is copy and paste. Now, all of a sudden, it's going to your social media. Now it's going to all of theirs as well.
Right.
That's how you now then begin to spread the message.
Yes. One of the things is another thing, Roland, I want to share is that I've had people join through the streaming.
Yes. Yes. It's the same as Paul going from city to city. You just, the camera.
So I was taken back when a visitor who had been watching asked could they be a member, but they was not physically located in Fredericksburg. And I was like, well, I guess so. If you've been on, if you've been watching this long,
that
I guess
ain't
you
the
did.
answer, Bishop. That ain't it. The answer is yes. But what I'm saying is, so now when you're having those civic discussions or whatever, so remember, there's somebody, they don't have to be in Fredericksburg, but if you're explaining to them public policy, I mean, I deal with it every day. People stop me in airports and they say, man, thank you. They say, thank you. I had no idea. But you explain it to us in a way that we can understand. They say, thank you. That's all they ever say. I've had people say, I ran for office because I watched you. So what I'm saying is we have to now be thinking completely different. So if you're having those discussions within the church, got to make sure it's, and so even if you don't live stream it, it's recorded and you can stream it later because there's somebody who is going to watch it. And here's the other thing, the beauty of streaming. You're going to be asleep at 3 o'clock in the morning. Somebody's going to be actually watching that video. You have no idea. They'll be like, I didn't know this. That's why I'm trying to get us, as if we talk about churches collaboration, how we have to be thinking differently about how we organize and mobilize using technology to reach and teach.
Absolutely. And so I'd like to just bring this last point up as regards to streaming and stuff. With that, there's so many opportunities with our streaming stuff. I remember when, like you said, when COVID hit, and that's before I didn't even have a camera. Didn't even have a camera. I had to run out.
Oh, trust me, preachers were calling me Marla. I did Jamal Bryan set up. It was like hundreds of Methodist preachers. They had no clue. They didn't know what to buy. They didn't know what a Cam Link card was. They had no idea. And again, and I'll say this here, COVID was devastating for the nation, for the world, for the black community. But the silver lining was that COVID forced, and black churches, HBCUs, and others, black institutions were 10 to 15 years behind technology-wise.
Right, yes, I will.
COVID forced every institution, because they either caught up or they died.
Yeah.
So it forced everybody. I mean, Tom Joyner lost millions on HBCU online because HBCUs would not see online education. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit, they had no choice.
Absolutely, and that was us.
There you go.
I mean, we went from Bible study to go-to meeting. How many of you go-to meeting, the software? We didn't know anything, so we were just trying everything, but we had to figure it out. And then when we did figure it out and stuff, then we we had to crawl, and we walked, but then we started running. And ever since then, we haven't looked back. And so a lot of times, the church is reluctant to move forward in technology.
Right. And so when the church is reluctant, the people are reluctant, which is why if the church is embracing it and pushing it and advocating it, the folk are going to say, oh, cool, because the church is validating that, and now they're going to catch up. And that's why I'm saying if we take that exact same model and apply it to civics and apply it to what's going on. And so, if 200 people can't keep up with everything, I can't keep up with everything, but if you do, to Gary's point, if you do have a committee or you have different people who say, hey, this thing is about to come up that's going to impact our city. This is not the city council meeting. It's going before this city subcommittee. Folk need to know we need to have folks there, have someone there. And again, this is where, look, local newspapers have been crushed, so you don't have the reporting you have anymore. So imagine if you had someone who said, hey, I'm going to make sure that we're aware of what's happening at City Hall, at county. So when these things come up, you bring it back and you're now on it on the front end versus the back end.
Yeah.
And again, now that you have all the social data of all your members, you can then be able to say, now, members, let's push this stuff out to all of your accounts. So now all of a sudden, you now have thousands upon people now seeing it. And then if you take, and if you say, and this is the other thing that I'll give you this here. I don't sweat who don't show up. So if we call a meeting and I call 50 people and 10 show up, I'm not going to spend an hour complaining about the 40 who didn't show up. I only focus on the 10 that did show up. But then I'm going to tell the 10, y'all got to bring one next month, so we're going to go from 10 to 20. So now all of a sudden, again, if I'm using the micro model, if you say you get with 4 of the churches, now you got 5 churches. Now you do a survey. Now you know how many members, how many social media accounts, how many total followers. You literally, this is going to blow people away. If you add up all the social media followers of just those 5 churches, I can guarantee you those 5 social media following of those 5 churches will be larger than the people who listen to the #1 radio station in town, who read the newspaper, just those 5 people. That's how we have to now understand how social has changed. So if we take those 5 churches, all their followers, folk who's sending out recipes, people who's sending out memes and sending out jokes, and if they now are sending out public policy alerts, now we've completely changed the community.
Yeah. I mean, because a lot of times what and I'm guilty of this as well, not having the connections that we could have, like you just said, I'm missing out on a lot of things that's going around in my city that we end up becoming reactive than proactive. And so when something goes down, then we're scattering, trying to show up. In other words, we don't, because we're not sharing. And I think that's one of the keys to stuff. You just mentioned that if it is that then we can have a strategy to move forward. Like you were talking about tonight, having strategy with that instead of being reactive when they call us.
All right, so now, so you remember the church here, raise your hand.
If you've got honey at home, you might be one step away from wiping out your memory problems. Today, I'm going to show you how to make this recipe.
You remember this church, raise your hand. You remember this church, raise your hand. Okay, cool. Now, so what this means, everybody here, you now have some homework. See again. You now see. I tell you, I don't play these games. So you don't have to be a member of this church. You now should be able to go back to your church and say, Pastor, I need you to see this clip. I need you to see this conversation. We need to be doing this. I need you to get with Bishop to be one of those 5. And now all of a sudden we'll build from there. That's the only way this thing changes. So I don't want folk coming in here, just sitting here listening, going, amen, that's right, say that. If we are not doing anything tomorrow, then Thursday, then Friday, then next week, and building upon it, then after the election, keep this thing going, that's how we actually change our community.
I totally agree. Amen?
All right,
Amen.
So I'm going to check. Now, let me explain something to y'all. Gary know, all of the civil rights people around the country, they all know I believe in accountability. So you see, y'all think I'm lying. I'm going to check back in 3 months. Let me be real clear. Now, don't let me have to check back in 3 months and then nothing happened. Because I'm telling y'all, I will put everybody on blast. Matter of fact, do this here. Okay, that camera right there. I need you to walk down. No, don't point at me. I know what I look like. I need you to, Henry, go to that camera right there. Go to that camera right there. I need you to walk down it aisle. Walk all the way back. Walk all the way back. No. Walk all the way back. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. That's right. This is called a video mug shot. All right, come on back down. Come on back down. Come to me. Come to me. That's right. That's right. I'm busting everybody. If you lying, I wasn't there. No. Come right here. Come right here. Walk down the center aisle. Get everybody on video. Keep going. Don't be trying to turn y'all heads like y'all in witness protection or something. All right, come on down. Come on. Oh, Henry, don't stick on my Henry. Don't switch to me. Keep it on. I need everybody. It's a video mug shot. All right, go on down there. If y'all wave, smile. If you here with somebody ain't supposed to be here, that is not my problem. Baby, stop covering your forehead. We see you. As you go. All right, so everybody here, you cannot lie and say you weren't here. Y'all got some homework in 3 months. This should be done. Y'all should have the data collected, and we should start seeing the results of this. Bishop, I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you, Roland. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a bunch.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm going to go to a quick break. We're going to come back with a panel final discussion for about 8 to 10 minutes, and we're going to shut this thing down. Folks, you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget to support the work that we do. We don't have millionaires and billionaires like these right-wingers got cutting them checks. Our fan base has really been supporting us since we launched September 4th, 2018. We've had some 37,000 donors, and that's folks giving $1, $5, $10, $25. We ask our fan base to give on average $50 each a year, which is $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. Support this show, the other 4 shows on the Black Star Network. We're launching a business show. We're launching a health show. We're launching another daily news show the next couple of months. And so we're the only, we're the largest black and the only black daily digital news show in the country. You do not have any other show in the country where African Americans are centered when we have this conversation. Nobody else is doing this. No, the larger black-owned media outlets, none of them are doing it. And so that's what you're supporting. So be sure to support our work. If you want to use Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here in the bottom left-hand corner. That's also for credit cards. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Checks and money orders. A whole bunch of y'all don't believe in no technology. So y'all got them checks and money orders, and I told y'all got to stop writing me checks and then hoping I cash it in 2 weeks. Y'all, I don't go to the mailbox. I go to the mailbox every 2 weeks. Okay, so I got to open an envelope. I got to sign the back of that check. I got to take a picture of that check. Some of the money orders don't go through. I got to send it to the bank. So y'all going to have to give brother like 60 days, okay? So you need to balance your checkbook. If you don't believe in Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, or Venmo, and you got check and money order, you got to give brother some time.